Hello, hello, this is Jen. I hope everybody's good. I'm here with an energy update. So, welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're not new. Thank you for being here. I really do hope that everybody is good, as relaxed as possible, even though it's hard during these messed up times. Over the weekend on April 4th, there was a global meditation to help with whatever is going on with this virus, with this chaos. And the next day, it showed up in the Schumann Resonance, and it was a huge peak of increase in energy. Basically, the Schumann resonance went up. I have a blog on what a Schumann resonance is. It's basically the vibration of the earth. The base frequency is 7.83 hertz. So the unit of measure is exactly the same as sound. 7.83 hertz is way too low for the human ear to hear that. Most people don't hear as low as 40 hertz. So anything below that is something that we do not detect, really. Some animals can. And same thing on the opposite range. The higher it is, the less we hear it. So, and I forgot to check how high it went, but it was a huge difference in the graph, in the usual graph of the Schumann resonance. So that's a good news. We had the intention of helping energetically with whatever is going on at this time when it comes to the fears, the virus, the chaos, and all the gooey stuff that we're in right now. So that's one good news. The other one is I was channeling earlier today, and I was waiting, to get the entire message before coming on here and making this update. And I was channeling and receiving, bits and pieces of like whatever is going on and whatever is coming. And what came up is the worst of the energetic battle or chaos has passed. It's behind us. Of course, it doesn't show physically, because if you remember, it always starts on the spiritual level, energetic level. We need to integrate it physically. Then we see the changes. And the worst of the energetic chaos has passed. Okay, so for those that are ahead of the wave or at the beginning of the wave, you are feeling this at this point. You're most probably feeling what it looks like to be on the other end of this crisis. You're probably in it the majority of your time. So you're fully anchored in the 5D. You're fully anchored in the new world, the new age, the golden age, whichever way you want to call it. But you feel like you're finally, let me rephrase that. It feels like suddenly your mission is making more sense. It feels like whatever you were waiting for all your life, you have this deep feeling that you were born for this. You were born to assist with this. So be prepared for what's coming, because individual missions are either changed or about to change, depending on where you're at. And it doesn't mean, and I mentioned this before, it doesn't mean having a YouTube channel and doing readings or doing tarot readings, none of that. For most, their mission is about being a channel of light. And what does that mean, you'll say? It means being your best self all the time and spreading the light, spreading the love, being sturdy, being a beacon of light, being the lighthouse in the storm. So, if you're not feeling this yet, no worries, it's going to come. But there are like lots of people that tend to be ahead of the wave. They see, they sense, they go through things before the collective or before the majority. And perhaps if you feel like there was a polarity change in your life, or like this shift where, especially over the weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, where you thought to yourself, oh my God, I'm in a different reality. It feels like I'm in a dream or in a parallel world of some sort. My body feels different. The way I feel in my body feels different. My thoughts are different. The way I see things is different. So, of course, it's another layer of a spiritual awakening. But the further you are on this path, the more the changes are sweet, in the sense of you're getting closer and closer to the 5D and being there all the time, therefore attracting that stuff back to you. So imagine what's going on for the Divine Masculine. Imagine lots of them are just broken into millions of pieces, unable to lift their head up to assess what's going on. So a lot of them are just like major tower moments, major purge for them. And they don't know what to do about it. Some of them are awakened to the point where they're working on their spiritual powers. They're working on those visions that they're getting, because a lot of them are being worked on their third eye, and they're getting visions and they don't know how to deal with this. So remember when it happened to you, when you awakened and you started getting your clairs woken up. Receiving visions for the first time can be a very disturbing thing until you realize that no harm is being done, and until you realize what to do with those. So for a lot of them, that's what they're working on. Same thing for those that are clairaudient and so on. And for some of them, they fully accepted that their life as they knew it is gone and done forever. And that goes for everyone, for that matter. Like, the world and life will never be the same. It will never go back to what it was before, pre this virus. And I don't want to use the word, because I don't want to give it power. So I'm just going to use virus instead of saying the word that that we keep on hearing all over the place. This is changing us for good and forever. So if you're feeling that you're grieving something, that's what it is. It will never go back. It will never be the way it was before. It was a long time coming. For those who have done quantum healing sessions, perhaps you had clues about that. Perhaps you've known all your life that something major like this would happen in this world. Maybe you didn't know the exact details or the exact date. I know for myself, and I've said this before, I knew that in 2020 something major would happen and things would just start to fall into place after, and we're seeing it right now. So the Divine Masculine, a small part of them are wrapping their brains around the fact that they're special because they're twin flames. They've been through so much problems and hardships in life because they needed to learn, go through the lessons. And if you're a twin flame as well, you probably resonate with the fact that you had to go through it at a faster pace than other people. And they're learning to forgive that and to accept that it is what it is, and there's no going around. There's no going around. There's no hiding. There's no running from it. There's no place to hide or to run to. They're dealing with the fact that they've acted in ways that hurt other people, especially the divine feminine, and they can't fully understand how the divine feminine was or is able to forgive them. They feel unworthy. They feel they don't know. They just don't know how to make that switch to forgive. And forgiveness is a really hard thing to do in some situations, especially when we've been very deeply hurt. It's hard to deal with. It's hard to flip that script and to just see a different side of things and to move on. So all of that put together, we're all moving on. We're all moving on to the next step of our evolution, spiritual ascension, spiritual awakening, and consciousness. This virus had to happen to change people's consciousness, and all the lockdowns going on in the world forces everybody to take a good look in the mirror and to book appointments with themselves because there's nothing else to do. There's no escaping by going out and by bypassing. You know, we're all stuck at home, or most of us are stuck at home, and the mirror is humongous. It's there, and it's like calling us, take a look, take a look, take a look, and, you know, work your shit out. And it needed to happen this way. It just needed. And for those reasons, that's why we'll never be the same people. We'll never be the same collective. Life will never be the way it was before. Sure, like some things will be exactly the same, but the level of consciousness, the energy will never, never, never be the same. And it's a really, really good thing when you think about it. It's hard right now, but like I said at the beginning of the video, the worst of the energetic chaos has passed. We're on the other side, going towards what's easier, going towards eclipse season, going towards integrating physically. So be prepared, because a lot of people will get physically tired because it's hard for the body when we have to accept these new vibrations and these new levels of energy, which in the end are new levels of operation, the new base level of operation. And over the weekend, I was thinking and I was reflecting. I was shown all these energy updates that I'm making. And I mentioned before that sometimes I just start the update without knowing where it's going, just channeling live. And I was shown snippets of all these energy updates. And I've realized that it was to bring us to that moment, to those events that we're going through right now. I kept on repeating, there is no more time, there is no more time. And then just before the holidays, I was saying things like, I feel like everything has been said. I feel like I have nothing else to say. Just be ready. And look where we are now. And of course, at that time, I didn't know it was going to be this shit show. I had no idea, and most people didn't either. Because that's what it is. When you channel, you receive information, you receive messages, and you don't always know what they mean. You know afterwards. And you look back and you're like, oh, that's why. That's why I needed to do this or go there or do that. So yes, I was shown that, and I was shown that everything is going to be okay. Nobody exactly knows what it's going to be like when all of this is over, because I know a lot of people are still struggling, are still in the phase where they need to accept that this is going on. But the faster you accept, the faster you go through it. The faster you grieve the old way of doing things, the faster you're going to adopt the new ways of doing things. And you'll see this is much sweeter. Much, much sweeter. Manifestation time has been drastically faster. There's less and less of a delay between the time that you have a thought and the time that you see it manifest right in front of your eyes. You can Play around with that and you'll see that has changed tremendously. It's also because the divine masculine has been doing their work, or had no choice but to do their work, because still a lot of them were trying to resist. There's no resisting anymore, any longer. It's a matter of accepting and moving forward. And a lot of them are lost. They're like in between, like wanting to go back to the old ways and wanting to go forward towards the new ways, and they just don't know how. And that's normal. If we look back at when we ourselves awakened, we didn't always know how to go about things. So if you are a divine feminine, the best thing to do is really be grounded, aligned, heart, body, mind, soul, and be aligned with what your higher self wants you to know, and follow that. This crisis is showing us how we need to rely on intuition, how we need to rely on our own powers, because that's the truth. That's intelligence. All these little things that we've been taught to put aside, like how we feel in our bodies when we are facing a situation, a specific word, a specific person. Is our body contracting or is it relaxing? That cannot lie. We cannot hide these informations. We cannot pretend that they're not there any longer. It's impossible. Our body speaks 10 seconds before we understand the thought that we just had. Just think about that for a second. That's in between those spaces that the intuition lies. From the moment that you're able to realize, oh, my body's feeling like it's stressed out and tense, and then you have the thought and you analyze your thought, just go back to what the trigger was. What was it? Was it the person? Was it the word? Was it the energy behind? And then analyze it, breathe into it, and let it go. If you're unable to let it go right away, that's probably because you have deeper work to do, and that's okay. Take your time, sit with it, breathe with it, and then you're going to be able to release it. You are truly aligned when those 10 seconds are almost non-existent through each and every minute of your day, every situation that you're going through. Because it's one thing to know about something, but it's a different thing to master this thing and this knowledge. So you reach that level of self-mastery when you're able to recognize those micro changes inside of you, micro changes in your body, in your energy, micro shifts going on internally without thinking about it, by just recognizing the sensation. And an easy comparison, easy example that I could use is, you know, when you go on a roller coaster, when you're at the top of a hill and it's about to go down, that movement in your body, in your stomach, like that pit of your stomach that like moves or something. Think about that. That's undeniable. You cannot pretend that it's not there. So you can truly master everything that relates to your intuition, to your higher self, when you're able to recognize those micro changes inside of you. That's your higher self speaking to you, using your body and your brain to bring the message to you. It's when it comes to the brain that usually there's a problem, because that's where we start questioning. That's where we start with the fears, the doubts, the anxiety, a bunch of filters. But if you go back to the initial spark of energy, of sensation, of feeling, that does not lie. Never. Never. This is a part of what the new era looks like, people being aligned that way. So I went this far into the intuition thing because I was talking about the divine feminine, that what you need to do to support the divine masculine is being aligned. really working on your self-mastery, keeping it cool, keeping it chill, no matter what happens. Because of course we're going to keep seeing people acting in ways that we don't want to see or that we don't want to deal with. Hold space. But also, a lot of people are faced with decisions, choices, a split, the three wave of volunteers of Dolores Cannon, and how she was explaining that there would be a shift, split on Earth between the 3D and the 5D. At this point, a lot of people will be called into leaving their 3D people, friends, and whatnot, because they are going towards the 5D. Not that you're never going to speak with these people again, but the relationship will never be the same. It cannot be. It cannot be sustainable because the energies are too different. And you're going to feel drained. You're going to feel like impatient. So yes, hold space, all the while making the proper decisions when it comes to where you're going. Never doubt, never fear, trust that there's a plan, trust that the universe has your back, and that everything is the way it's supposed to be. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. And another thing that's coming up when it comes to being where we're supposed to be, a lot of people have been moving around in the past few years, but rest assured that if you're at the same place or you've been at the same place for quite some time now and you don't feel called to move, that's because you need to be there. It was part of the strategy and the plan for you to be there. And if you look around, it should make sense because there's probably no one with your kind of skills. No one, I don't want to say no one as awakened as you, but no one awakened the way you are, because we all complement one another, right? So a fellow light worker may be awakened to things that you're still not awakened to, and vice versa. And we're all part of this. We all have a role to play, and we're all where we're supposed to be at this time. So it's not the perfect time to be pushing things around or to be trying to go faster than the natural rhythm of things. So I guess that's it for now. You can follow me on social media at IndigoGirl555 on Instagram, Indigo Girls Readings on Facebook, or using my email at indigogirl555@gmail.com. And until the next time, be well, be safe. We got this. Take care.